Hello Viking ratbags, it's Jade with another Tribes of Midgard preview video, going over all the information I could find about biomes and the world of Midgard. What are the locations we're going to be discovering? What kind of resources are we going to be gathering from the 5 distinct biomes and the enemy types that we may come across? Check out the rest of the preview videos already done, and do bear in mind that I'm going by as much info as I could find publicly available, so some things may be slightly incorrect or a bit out of date, but I've done my best to keep you guys in the loop. So do leave a like if you find the video useful, and let me take you through the world of Tribes of Midgard. So the world of Midgard has got 5 distinct biomes, and in the centre of each procedurally generated map you will have your settlement, which houses the Tree of Yggdrasil. This is also home to a bunch of NPCs which you can upgrade, unlock new weapons and recipes to help you fight all of the creatures out in the world and defend your settlement against the Hellthings and the Jotun. This zone is called the Bright Forest, and it's pretty much the starter. Nice pastures and fields, but lots of danger still and lots of resources for you to go gather. So you'll be spending a lot of time here. Upgrading these NPCs and keeping the health of your tree going requires souls, and the souls are what you get from defeating enemies. The Hellthings that spawn will come every single night, more or less, unless it's a special different type of saga night where there may be some allowances or differences, but in survival mode it's usually every single night, and you've got to defend and pretty much keep your tree. Once that tree is destroyed, the seed of Yggdrasil, then that is it, it's game over and you have to restart again. You can see it's set in quite a nice plains, lots of grass, lots of pastures, that kind of nice cozy atmosphere with a few rocks and cliffs in and around. Also, do remember it is a survival RPG exploration game, so you will still be gathering resources, but they alleviate in the grind. You're not going to be chopping down a million trees. You should get generous amounts from just the one simple tree that you take down or a rock pile. You'll also come across rock quarries as well as wood lumber yards. I pulled a lot of these details from other game site footage. I can't really show that, but I think I can get away with showing a screenshot and just showing you the variety of locations that you'll be able to explore. And you can see quite a lot that in that starting area, the green area, you have got these kind of resource intensive areas where you can go and get wood, stone, or maybe food from farms. So it might seem all just a little bit cozy, but obviously there is going to be lots of enemies still roaming around these green pasture zones. But as you would expect, a decent way to start the game. Get used to the surroundings, get resources, and start thinking about how to venture into the other biomes. So a big part of what you're going to be doing is foraging resources to protect your settlement with defences. You'll bring your resources back and you share them with all of your teammates, whoever's playing on that instance with you. But there are other ingredients and resources you need to collect to craft your weapons or other items. You've got your typical desert biome, which is going to be called the SMOKY HIGHLANDS unless anything has changed. This may be where you get a lot more selection of different types of ores, including magnite and iron ore. You may also find precious jewels like amethyst in this location. Of course, it is pretty barren. You won't find necessarily a lot of greenery or a lot of woods and trees. You will find plenty of different types of enemies, including all sorts of white goblins, trolls, and red Dokkathar warriors. Venturing into the deserts, which look like it surrounds a lot of the hub zone, will be maybe your first taste of temperatures and having to actually think about what equipment to wear and bring. There is a temperature system in Tribes of Midgard. If you become too cold, as I've seen from some of the rune descriptions, sometimes you will lose health, depending maybe if it's a winter or a special event. There are some runes that can give you HP regenerating over time due to the cold affecting you. So you may have to adjust what kind of equipment you go. You may have to be more prepared to venture into some of these biomes. And the desert biome, I'm assuming that if you get too hot, maybe you'll lose some of your stamina, or you simply will start losing health just like it is for the cold. The day and night cycle might help a little bit if you're getting a little bit too hot in that desert biome, but don't forget that at night time you do have to contend with the enemy forces attacking your settlement. So yeah, a place where you'll go to get maybe heavy rock nodes, which will help your defences as well as maybe help craft better armours, weapons and tools. Then we move on to the snowy or icy biomes, which looks like it's going to be called the Glacier Peak. Now, it's actually a bit of a crafting or task to get here. You're going to need to basically build bridges before you can access some of these zones. It's listed as one of the quests, repair the bridge to the Glacier Peak, in a lot of the gameplay videos that IGN and GameSpot have put out recently. From the description of the wiki, it lists the cold biomes, the glacier peaks, as being somewhere that you can get more resistance materials to make better armors, or more resistance, I guess, in terms of durability. You'll still find plenty of resources like ores and iron ores and stuff like that as well, but maybe a few more things like bones and particular types of wood like birch trees. Also looks like you might be able to get jewels like sapphire as well as silver alongside these areas, and moonstones from night rowan trees. So again, it may be a case of revisiting some of these biomes at night time when you can, to get certain resources that may only appear or might have more abundance. So it does look like the glacier peak will be an area that you have to build up to first, making sure you've got enough resources, repairing the bridges, and then going and getting harder to get resources. And just a little bit of extra about the weather system. As I said, there are specific events or times when the weather will start turning. The seasons do get colder, and so you are going to have to prepare for cold no matter where you are. You'll find plenty of enemy encampments all over the map, no matter what biome, and the Glacier Peak camp looks formidable, each variation of it as well. It does look like there's different levels, and you'll come across all variety of scary, Frozen-esque enemy types. So yeah, I do believe this might be one of the more challenging areas that you'll be facing or going into, and possibly where the giants may be appearing at their first spawn point, since they are bringing the winter with them. I do believe it signals the beginning of Ragnarök, and that may be the case that when the giants are coming closer to your base, that it may start off a winter event, judging by a lot of the gameplay again I've seen and clips and trailers. And as may be typical, we've got a swamp style biome which is called the Land of Pools. Now there's not many details about the Land of Pools on the wiki or come across any sort of interviews, but we can determine there's a lot of lizard style creatures here, including the lindworm, which looks pretty comical in the still shot, but once you start looking at actual gameplay of it actually attacking, yeah, it's pretty scary. It can do a lot of damage there with its huge tail. It's just a beast. In all the map footage I've seen, the swamps do look like they're right in the further reaches, so it definitely might be a harder place to go to, with possible poison attacks from lots of creatures in the zone. So scary, dank and damp place to go, the Land of Pools. And then to round off the biomes, you've got Ash Beach, which looks like it's a molten area covered in the soot and the ash from a volcano, possibly along the shores. Promising resources like seaweed, as well as mushroom oils from stormcap mushrooms. Gold and garnets are the jewels that you'll be mainly getting, as well as aquamarine. But maybe a little bit more treasure hunting and clearing out certain camps to get some of these resources rather than getting them from natural nodes. The description reads, during the day the black beaches of Midgard sparkle in the sunlight and the coastal shelf is littered with charming things to discover. At night another story is told. At the time of day when the sun hides below the horizon and the fog hangs heavy in the night air, the beach is not so charming a place for a walk. It's where we may come across lots of bandit camps who are called the Unsunken, and there's various different varieties where we'll get all sorts of different treasures from the chests amongst the ruins of the ships and the boats washed up on the shore. With a little look at one of the upgraded Unsunken, looking pretty blue goblin-y. Wildlife like crabs, as you would maybe expect on the beach, still roam around. So again, you may have to travel quite far to get to some of these ones. I'm not 100% sure on how the worlds are really generated, other than, like I said, the shots I've seen show very much the bright forest at the heart of the game, and then you will go to other places that have the Land of Pools or the Glacier Peak, but then you may also still come across other biomes that, again, bright forest. It's not just simply a ring that gets harder as you go out and out. You will have sprinklings and mixtures of these biomes all within each other. To help travel across the world, you will come across Bifrost portals, and it does look like you will be able to also teleport back to your base using certain potions or spells as well occasionally. There are shortcuts to certain places, not necessarily dungeons, more definitely like a shortcut to one place to another called the underpasses, but there will be cave-like areas called hideouts that you need to explore too. Throw in the multitude of different level camps, small, medium, large, giving a rise to a different type of enemy type for each one at different levels, and of course things like the sorcerer. Will that be a really super hard mob that we might only find in one particular region or one particular world? And with finally the lair, looking likely to be something along the lines of the saga storyline. If you don't know, there is a saga boss. We have to complete certain objectives to unlock the saga boss, so maybe that will be the location of that. And one detail I'm desperate to confirm is that each one of these biomes may have a difficulty level attached to it. So around the starting area, you'll find biomes that are level 1, but as you explore more of the world, you will come across the same biomes, but they will definitely have more difficulty because they'll be level 2 forest, or they'll be level 3 ash beach. And I do believe that's the way it's going to go in terms of difficulty. Throw in some shrines where I do believe you can level up or get some extra powers, as well as the merchants to buy maybe more unique things than you get from the NPCs back at your encampment. And I think the world of Midgard is going to be very fun to explore, especially with your friends, or yeah, if you want to take things a little bit slower in survival mode on your own. And that's pretty much all the info we have so far on the map, the world, and the locations of Tribes of Midgard. As I have said, I'll be covering this game up until its release, and I want desperately to give you as many guides and tutorials when it fully comes out. So make sure you stay tuned to my channel for the best in survival games news, guides, and opinion, and I'll catch you Vikings later.